in Chinese we usually say 你需要厚脸皮. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you can subscribe at the end as well, but if you have already subscribed, thank you very much. So today I'm actually very excited about this video. I've been wanting to do this for a while, how I speak 4 languages. I actually got my inspiration from Abby's video. I really liked how she carried out this content. So if you haven't checked out, I will link her video somewhere below or above, so you can go check it out. So basically for this video, I'm just gonna speak 4 languages and briefly explain how I learned each one of them. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, I'm gonna start from my mother tongue, which is Korean. 안녕하십니까. 저희 구독자분들은 아시겠지만 저는 중국에서 태어난 조한족이고 현재 미국에서 생활을 하고 있습니다. Korean은 저한테 있어서는 저의 모어이고 그리고 제일 편한 언어라고 생각을 하시면 될 것 같습니다. 외국에 왔을 때 처음에 미국에 와서 많은 외국분들이 저한테 너는 중국에서 태어나고 중국에서 자랐는데 어떻게 코리안을 잘하냐고 많은 질문을 받았었는데 뭐 연변에 보신 분들은 아시겠지만 연변, 조한조다, 지주 그 지역은 거의 이중문화, 이중언어 시스템이라서 저도 연변에 살면서 어릴 때는 조한조 학교를 다녔기 때문에 저중고 교육은 다 조선어로 수업을 받았습니다. 그래서 보통 조한조 학교를 보면은 조선어로 수업을 받고 그 외에 뭐 중국어, 영어 아니면 일본어는 꼭 들어야 되는 필수 과목 중에 하나로 배우는 편인 것 같습니다. 그래서 그런 환경에서 자랐기 때문에 저는 어릴 적부터 뭐 중국어도 배웠었고 그리고 코리안도 같이 배우면서 클 수 있었던 것 같습니다. 평시 일상에서는 뭐 보시다시피 연변 사투리를 많이 쓰는 편이고 뭐 현재는 미국에 살면서 뭐 한국 친구들도 있고 그리고 한국 미디어 영향을 받으면서 저희 말투도 조금은 완전 연변 사투리도 아니고 또 그렇다고 완전 서울 억양도 아닌 좀 애매한 말투로 바뀐 것도 있는 것 같습니다. 유튜브를 시작하면서 저는 그냥 제가 제일 편한 언어로 시작하고 싶었기 때문에 연변말로 영상을 찍게 되었고 아직까지는 연변말 영상이 제일 많은 것 같기는 합니다. 하지만 뭐 차츰 저도 이제 뭐 여러 가지 언어로 영어도 하고 뭐 중국어 영상 같은 것도 올리려고 생각 중에 있으니까 관심 있으신 분들 오늘 구독 잊지 마시길 바라겠습니다. 그리고 혹시 주위에 뭐 중국어, 한국어를 동시에 배우고 싶어 하시는 분이 계시다면은 저는 연변에서 뭐 1년, 2년 동안 생활하는 것도 좋은 경험이 될 것 같고 2가지 언어를 다 배우는데 많은 도움이 될 거라고 생각을 합니다. 그래서 뭐 관심 있으신 분들은 한번 도전해 보시길 바라겠습니다. 그럼 이제는 다음 언어 중국어로 넘어가 보겠습니다. 大家好，欢迎大家来到我的频道。这次好像是我第一次用中文讲话，感觉有点别扭，希望大家也见谅。我是出生在延边的朝鲜族，不过现在生活在美国。中文是我在延边上小学的时候开始学的，因为在延边的时候我上的是朝鲜族学校，所以一般的课都是会用朝鲜语上。不过中文是一门必修课之一。虽然我是朝鲜族，但毕竟是在中国出生长大的，所以中文是一门必须要学好的一门语言。以前在老家的时候，一般跟家人或者是朋友们讲话的话，一般都是用朝鲜语。需要出去买东西或者是要出去办事的时候，就需要会讲中文了。不会中文的话，一般就是很不方便。因为我是初中毕业之后来的美国，所以我感觉我的中文水平也就停留在了那个初中水平阶段。一般看电视、看新闻或者是跟朋友们交流是没有太大的问题。不过你要我写 一篇很长很长的论文的话，我就可能写不出来了。不过呢，我希望大家不要用我的中文水平来评价别的朝鲜族朋友们，因为我周围也有很多朝鲜族朋友，他们讲中文讲得特别流畅地道的人也是很多的。我以前在中国的时候，小时候看的最喜欢的电视剧是《还珠格格》，可能是在我小学的时候看的，这个也就大概暴露了我的年龄。有时候会看《非诚勿扰》或者是火的一些电视剧，前几年看了《欢乐颂》，然后去年看了《如懿传》，最近我也开始看了那个非常火的小欢喜。周围的有几个朋友都挺推荐这部电视剧，所以我也挺期待的。不过希望大家也可以多推荐一下你们喜欢的电视剧或者是综艺节目，我也可以多看一些，然后复习一下我的中文。我现在有几个中文 vlog 还没有编辑好的，感觉我的中文不是很好，所以有时候会觉得不够自信。不过我觉得我也可以多尝试着做一些中文视频或者是中文 vlog，也给自己多学习一下中文的机会。希望大家也多鼓励我一下那中文我就先说到这里，然后我们就换一个语言，下一个语言是英文。Hi guys, back to English. So I think I started learning English when I was in China. I think it was in elementary school. I don't remember exactly what grade. I think it was either maybe second or third, but I'm not sure. Anyways, I just remember reading books. I remember memorizing a lot of words, remember learning grammars, and I was able to write a small paragraph in English when I was in China. So I think my writing and reading was okay, was not fluent, but was okay. But after I moved here, I realized my speaking and listening were really bad. I had no idea what's going on in the classroom. I didn't know what the teacher was talking about when I first got here. So I just remember like looking at my neighbor's textbook to see what page my neighbor is on, and I would just like flip my pages to be on the same page so that I can kind of follow the instructions of the teacher. I think that was my first year. I don't remember how I survived my first year. At least we didn't study a lot, so I think that was good. I don't know why I remember this, but I just remember one time that one of my classmates, he said, "How are you doing?" He asked me, "How are you doing?" And I was standing there thinking, because I didn't know what that meant. Because I've learned "How are you?" and "How do you do?" when I was in China, but I've never heard of "How are you doing?" Because when he added "doing" at the end, I was like, what is he asking? What is he trying to say? So in my mind, I was thinking, oh, so doing is a verb. So I was thinking maybe he's asking me what I am going to do or what I am doing right now. So I just smiled at him and said nothing. And he kind of just smiled back and said, "Oh yeah," and then he walked away. It was really awkward at the time, but I didn't know why that was awkward. And later on, I found out that "How are you doing?" is actually another way of asking "How are you?" So I felt really stupid. I felt really stupid after knowing that. And I hope that he didn't think I was rude or anything. I'm sure I've made a lot of mistakes along the way too, but I think this is something that I still remember vividly until nowadays. So I'm sure everyone makes a mistake when you are learning a new language. So I would love to hear yours. If you had any funny stories that you would like to share, make sure you share in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Sometimes I get questions from people, how can I learn English? What kind of advice do you have for learning a new language? Personally, I think it took me longer for me to learn English. I think it was mainly because of my personality. I don't know if you can tell, but I am an introvert. So I can be very shy, especially when I'm meeting new people. I think I was even more introvert when I was younger. So at the time when I first got here, I think I was really afraid of talking to people because I was scared of people judging me because I had accents. I still do, but at the time I think I was really afraid of people making fun of my accents or making fun of my mistakes. So I think I wasn't very proactive in the learning process, which I regret until now. I wish I could have been more proactive, reaching out to people for questions, for help. Yeah, that's something that I regret until now. So if anyone asks me for advice for learning a new language, the only thing that I want to say is don't be afraid of making mistakes. It's okay that you make mistakes, especially when you're learning new language. People can judge, people can laugh at you, but who cares? Now that I'm older, I feel like that doesn't mean anything. So if any of you guys are out there learning a new language, just don't be afraid of making mistakes and speak as much as you can. And in Chinese, we usually say 你需要厚脸皮. Yeah, so that's my advice for you if you are looking to learn a new language. I think it got a little longer than I was expecting, so I'm gonna move on to my next language, which is Japanese. My fourth language is Japanese. はじめまして。私のチャンネルに来てくれてありがとうございます。どうぞよろしくお願いします。私が初めに日本語に興味があったのは高校生の時ですね。高校生の時、一番仲いい友達は沖縄出身で、彼女から沖縄と日本についていろんな言葉を聞いて、日本について興味があって日本語の授業を取り始まりました。大学に行っても日本語をさらに勉強して、東京の早稲田大学で1年間交換留学をしました。韓国語と中国語が話せたら、初めに日本語を勉強するのは難しくなかったですね。日本語は韓国語と文法も似てるし、漢字を見たら意味がわかるから、初めに勉強するのは本当に面白かったですね。でもね、あと敬語、日本語の敬語は本当に難しくて大変でした。今でも敬語は大変ですよ。2011年から2012年まで日本で交換留学をするときは日本語が上手に話せたんですけれども、今はアメリカであんまり日本語を使う機会がなくて忘れてしまいました。本当に残念ですよ。3年前でも自分で日本語を勉強を続けたんですけれども、なんか仕事を始めた後は勉強を続けるのはちょっと大変でした。4年前かな、私も自分で JLPT の1級にチャレンジしたんですけれども、合格できなくてちょっと寂しいでした。恥ずかしいですよ。でもあともう一回チャレンジしたいと思いますから頑張ります。去年7年ぶりに日本に遊びに行っていい時間を過ごしました。7年前に日本を離れる時はもうすぐ日本に行くってと思ったんですけれども、なかなか時間がかかってしまいました。ここまで私の物足りない日本語を聞いてくれて本当にありがとうございます。これからでも日本語を忘れないように勉強を続けたいと思いますから、なんかアドバイスとかあればぜひお願いします。ではまたね。So that's all I have for today. I hope this was a fun video and I hope this will also encourage you to learn a different language as well. Now I feel like I'm not fluent in any of the languages and my languages are all mixed up. It's really hard for me to just think in one language or speak just one language. So yeah, that's been my struggle, but I'm still thankful that I am able to speak all these languages because I think learning a language is also learning a different way of thinking about things. So I'm actually very thankful that I was able to grow up in a bilingual, bicultural community when I was in China, because that really gave me a greater exposure to different cultures, different languages, and people from different backgrounds. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity. And if you're interested why my hometown was bilingual bicultural, I'm hoping to share more videos on that later on. So if you're interested, make sure you subscribe and tune in for my future videos. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to share today. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope you can subscribe before you leave, and also give me a thumbs up if you like this video, or at least show me your support. Yeah, at the end, I just want to share one quote that I really like. So language shapes the way we think and determines what we can think about. Benjamin Lee Wolf. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!